I'm normally really laid back, but I think with all these presenters, I need to step up a bit. Or maybe I just need to hire one of them to do my promotions. So just give a little background since I didn't realize I can cheat and use some like dead time right here. I actually grew up in Chicago, but I grew up in the suburbs. So that's probably one of the things that led me to be an architect is how much I hate the suburbs. Here I grew up 20 miles away from the most beautiful city in America, and all I saw was the same Home Depot and bowling alley that everybody else saw. So my main goal is to create really a sense of place and make everything as cool and unique as possible. So if I can just get right into my presentation. So my idea for the landing, and I actually did not know any of these presenters before I came up with my design, but my idea has a garden on the rooftop, has a lot of colors, pulls it back from the river with the shape of the building. And this component here is a hotel, and the main focus is on the river. This is a view from the Modus building, and you can see here is a community garden on the park. I haven't developed exactly all what's going to be on the rooftop garden exactly, but you know, there's plenty of potential. Just about anything you want could be on there. And so this is the main thing. I'm all about the views of the river. So this is one of the striking views. I want to use the overhead shade structure to frame the river, and specifically even frame Main Street Bridge, since that is what everybody's going to be taking pictures of. So I see this as Chicago's bean. This is where people are going to stand, take a photo, and post it on Facebook for everybody to see. And I'm also incorporating the aquarium into my design. And the aquarium would be not just a private little pay $20 to go to and see but it would be outside so that everybody who wants to walk around could see the fish and feature it. And this is actually the hotel portion of it right here. And just to get into the plans, so you see the different aquarium pools right here. It would be, this is the hotel, this is the retail and restaurants on the bottom. I actually have parking coming in, and the service would be in this area right next to the parking to make use of that like dead space underneath the parking. And the cool thing here would be this retail and these restaurants would have an aquarium in them. So it would automatically become the coolest bar you've ever been to or the coolest restaurant you've ever seen. And here you can just see how the aquarium does take up the next few floors, and this is how the parking actually goes. And that's a real parking structure. I'm not just being a fantasy architect, that would actually work. And then here, this is the residential area. So this is still a hotel, but these would be the condos. And I'm thinking along here, these would actually be micro condos for young professionals, maybe 700 square feet, the smallest it can be, but cheap, because all you're going to be doing is living there. You're going to be going to the bars and restaurants and all of the awesome things that I've created here. So you don't really need that much land or room. And here, this is the rooftop garden, and these are two pools. And these pools are actually above the aquarium. So there'd be glass above and then you'd be swimming right above the fish, which you will see coming up. I don't know if that's legal and allowed, but I think that'd be the coolest pool ever, you know? And so here's the section. So here you can actually start to see all the parking. There's 850 parking spaces in my plan. Here you can see how I am doing that reverse pyramid, getting bigger as you go, which creates as much land as possible for a park next to the river, and also creates shade. So anybody standing in these balconies, it's a south-facing facade, so as the summer sun's coming down, you're shaded. And one of the other forms, now that you know it's an aquarium, you can kind of see one slight inspiration might be like a whale's tail, or you know, a little bit. But I also wanted it. I'm also thinking of like wings taking off rather than landing. Let's take off. I think Jacksonville needs to take off. And so here's the first view where I think this is also showing it's kind of like the heart of the city too. So I think this is a little bit like a heart and a stingray. Kind of ironic, but you can start to see I'm using bridges to actually physically connect the landing to the Modus building, which you can see right here. So So if you work in the Wells Fargo building, and you want to go to lunch, there's cafes and restaurants here. You don't even have to get all the way to the ground. You can just stop at this rooftop floor and just walk right onto the rooftop garden. And here is the view from Laura Street. So there's a bridge also, we're the city of bridges, so I'm incorporating lots of bridges into the design. And it also creates kind of a welcoming arch and, trying to draw you in from Laura Street. And there'd hopefully be a few more trees up there. And this would be the view looking towards the city. So you can see that, I'm kind of trying to incorporate the city and make you want to go towards Hemming Park once you're in here. And these are just kind of the benches I'm envisioning by, there'd be cafes all around the outside or the ground floor with some fancy benches. This is another view of that bridge looking at the river, just to kind of give you the idea of my vision and how everything's focused on looking at the river. And here is one of those aquarium pools. So as you're walking up the steps to get here, you can actually walk along the aquarium. And this is the key piece. It's the hotel bar, whereas this is the swimming pool where you can swim on top of the fish. And there's a swimming pool on the park side too. I don't want to only have the elite people staying at the hotel, but this is where you would find me every weekend night probably. And this is also a cafe on the roof, which gives you a good view of the shipyards that are going to be built and the Main Street Bridge. And there's mostly probably be a lunchtime dinner cafe type of spot. And here I have kind of a heavy roof, but you can see that I'm cutting like slots of light to come in to provide, some color and just some difference. This is a cafe that's on the third floor, but you see the way that I'm using the floors and curving them in certain ways allows open space for this third floor river. And this is a view from the Main Street Bridge where I just found this to be pretty dynamic and to kind of relate back to Jacksonville. And you can see how my structure is kind of angled in a similar way as Jacksonville, as Main Street Bridge. And if you know Miami and the Lincoln Park Garage by Herzog and Demeron, it's very similar idea structurally. And then at night, I have lights everywhere, and the rendering, is a little brighter than I would have liked it to have turned out. But I think it gives you the idea that this is an iconic landmark that people are going to want to visit Jacksonville. And when they have the NFL game on Thursday night and they're showing views of Jacksonville, that's what they're going to be showing on TV. You did something.